Hey everybody, it's Cass and Court TV. It's your girl, Miss Public Info here with the latest and greatest and sometimes hated updates of the most high profile cases going on around the country. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Thank you so much for your service. And we don't know what we would do without you guys. Certainly, it is no easy feat going off into a foreign country to fight a war. It's also no easy feat to also serve here on the ground here at home. So, wanted to recognize you guys. I have some veterans in my family, some posthumous veterans as well. And so, very thankful and grateful for your service. Okay, now. Today, we are going to talk about Sean Combs yet again, and then we're going to also talk about an Atlanta rapper who is actually facing some pretty serious charges, but he is denying those charges. So let's get into the Sean Combs of it all, and then we'll go from there. Uh, First thing that you will notice right away is Sean Combs now has a new mugshot, guys. Sean has a new mugshot. This is his mugshot that came in from CBS News exclusively. Um, he basically, looks older, obviously worn. He's nearly unrecognizable. I certainly wouldn't recognize him if I were to see him, excuse me, on the street. It would definitely say, who is that? Um, Also those artist renderings that we received from the trial court phase of the case certainly did try to depict him pretty accurately here with the graying of the hair, all of that. He's been missing some of that hair coloring he's used. What is that? That Beijing hair dye that a lot of guys use. Uh, Obviously, he's not been able to get all of the amenities that he's used to, while being behind bars over the last year and a half or so. So he's looking like Sean Combs, who is not getting the luxurious, sexy treatment that he's used to. I say that because that's his words. He always just says it needs to look luxurious, and needs to look sexy. So he himself has been missing some of that treatment. But let's talk about what is next. Like, what else can we talk about with Sean Combs? Well, his publicist and the Combs camp want to set the record straight as it relates to him, as it relates to some of the things that he's been sort of dealing with there. Yesterday, I talked about, how he got in trouble for the boozing, the alleged boozing. But now his PR team has come in and they want to set the record straight. They're saying that Sean Combs has been given a coveted position working in the prison chapel. He's seeking drug treatment, but also what's also coming out is that he is being disciplined over a banned phone call. So let's get into that and let's talk about it now. He's spending according to his folks, he's spending his early prison days working in the chapel and is currently enrolled in an intensive drug treatment program. Now, this is not to be mistaken or confused with the RDEP program, which of course he is looking to get into to, shorten his 50-month sentence. This is a separate program which is open to all that are there at the Fort Dix prison. Now, also, he's also seen himself found facing some disciplinary action. Now, this is different from the alleged boozing that he was allegedly accused of partaking in that I talked about yesterday. This is an unauthorized phone call, they're saying, that took place days before being transferred to Fort Dix from the men's holding facility and federal holding facility there in Brooklyn. And because of this particular offense, the disciplinary action is looking like a possibility of temporarily losing his phone privileges and commissary privileges as well. So that's one thing that's going on with him. Now, Combs was moved to Fort Dix back on the 30th, the day before Halloween, after rather being sentenced to more than 4 years, 50 months on the prostitution related charges, the Mann Act, of course. And so this photo that you're looking at here was utilized or is used to sort of update the prison records so they can keep track of him. Of course, this is very normal and very procedural. Now, prison documents that was obtained by CBS, and we've obtained them as well here at Castle Court TV, offer a glimpse as to how Sean Combs is spending his days. Uh, a work assignment, a supposed hard to get into treatment program, which is not the RDAP program, a different program, intensive therapy. And of course, uh, this is all going on even as he is accused of, flouting or ignoring the prison rules. Now, let's talk about the work assignment because his PR team wants everyone to know that he has been working as a chaplain's assistant there. Now, this is a very prestigious work assignment that he has obtained there at Fort Dix. It's considered to be one of the more desirable work assignments. I reported just about 2 weeks ago when he first entered or talked about how, his job assignment was actually the laundry, that he would be doing laundry and folding, ironing, and things of that nature. So that seems to have either changed or been added on to this work assignment that he now has coveted with the prison chaplain there at Fort Dix. Now, a former prisoner is speaking out about all of this and is saying that the tasks of a chaplain's assistant vary, but typically the inmates maintain the chaplain's religious library. They clean their office and help with some record keeping, they're saying. Now, Combs's publicist, Judah Engelmeyer, she is now talking and is also saying that, Sean Combs works in the prison chapel library where he describes the environment as warm, respectful, and rewarding. Now, this is a far cry from what we heard about yesterday as it relates to the boozing allegations. And of course, his PR team came in at top speed to quash these rumors, along with the statement from Sean Combs' family on the X account saying, no, this is not true. He is abiding by the prison rules. Now, what makes the assignment especially desirable at this, chaplain library is that the prestige that it holds within the prison. Now, this is coming from a former commissioner there in the prison who's saying that it allows the inmate to work in a private office, that it often has air conditioning, which apparently is not the case with the rest of the prison environment, and that the chaplains frequently bring in food for religious services, which can also be shared with the assistant with Combs's position. And a corrections officer also is speaking now, someone who's worked more than 20 years in the federal prisons, said that the chapel is one of the only places where inmates can congregate freely as well. So chaplains can also allow the assistants to prepare a call out list, which would tells officers which inmates are allowed to leave their cell, to go to the programs or medical appointments. The assistants could also add their corrections or friends, their connections or friends to that list as well. So this position holds a lot of power, a lot of prestige within the prison. Obviously, someone like Sean Combs would want to have something like this. This allows them to sort of get a little bit of that flexibility that he's used to having. Although prison is not offering Sean Combs any special treatment, he, as a byproduct of working in this position, has a little special treatment. Okay. So this is very coveted. Now we know why he's wanted to have this position or why his PR team is coming out saying, hey, you're saying that he's boozing, but we're telling you what's really going on. And he actually has a very coveted position, and he would not be able to be in this position had he had a lot of disciplinary action issues. But the prison is also saying he does have a disciplinary action issue with the phone call. So he's going to have to be admonished for that. And that simply means he will likely lose his phone privileges and potentially commissary. Now, Sean Combs was raised Catholic, and he has often spoke publicly about not identifying with any specific denomination although, in the recent times of this trial, he's referenced God many times, excuse me. So, we can only know that he has some sort of prayer life. Now, let's talk about this unauthorized team call. This is the unauthorized phone call that I just mentioned a second ago that he's going to be likely, um, you know, uh, disciplined for. Now, within a few days of his arrival at Fort Dix, back on October 3rd, Sean Combs found himself in trouble. He made a three-person phone call on November 3rd, which violates the prison rules. And he told officials it was a conversation with his legal team about issuing a statement to the New York Times. Now, of course, I talked about this phone call disciplinary in action yesterday, and some of you were like, well, all inmates use these phones, so it's not like a huge deal. But this wasn't about him using an unauthorized phone. This was about him making an unauthorized phone call, which violates the prison rules. Now, whether or not this is okay for other inmates or all the inmates do it or whatever the case is, Sean Combs is in a very peculiar position where he has to follow the rules because he's trying to get into this RDAP program. He's trying to get time shaved off his sentence. He needs to be on best behavior. So any sort of disciplinary action that has to be taken based upon a inmate's behavior is not good news. So Sean Combs needs to keep his nose clean. But again, this also mirrors some of the behavior that Sean Combs actually showed when he was in the men's holding facility, federal men's holding facility there in Brooklyn for almost a year and a half. He also did some of this in the beginning of his time there, where he was utilizing other inmates' phone cards, and phone numbers, their codes, in order to make unauthorized phone calls to people on the outside. This was part of the federal government's accusation that Sean Combs was actually witness tampering, that he was using this time to talk to people, to reach out and touch people, call people that he shouldn't be otherwise talking to. And a lot of this was combated by the Combs side by saying that, well, everybody does it, but the federal holding facility said maybe everyone does it, but you're not supposed to do it, and you got caught up in doing it. So they wanted to charge Sean Combs with witness tampering. They also wanted the judge to sort of include in his sentencing the obstruction of justice as it relates to this particular unauthorized phone calling. So the judge did not consider that in the sentence, but what we're seeing now is Sean Combs exhibiting more of this behavior, likely because nothing happened to him adversely when this first happened. He was merely, told not to do it again and went on about his business. But now here we are, and now he's in trouble again with it. So the Bureau of Prisons prohibits inmates from adding multiple people to a call. And inmates can only speak to people on prison phones from previously approved call lists under longstanding security rules. Now, according to documents, Sean Combs called an unnamed woman. And about halfway through their call, Combs said that he needed to talk with someone described as the digital person regarding blogs. So this was not his legal team, as he said it was. This sounds more like a team business call. And this is exactly what we talked about yesterday about Combs sort of making these business calls on during the jail when he's not supposed to. The woman asked Combs if she could or should add that person to the call, and he said yes. Combs first spoke briefly with the woman about arranging visitors for the weekend and then suggested that they bring a cash $200 in singles. There is no indication as to how he intended to use the money. This all according to CBS News. The prison regulations actually bar visitors from bringing in currency and other than coins for the vending machine. So this is another violation where we're learning of Combs sort of setting up more violations even within this phone call. And of course, Combs, as long as he's been in the prison system or jail system, he should know that these phone calls are recorded and they are public and people can get a hold of them. According to CBS News, Combs later explained that he was speaking with his attorney and that she added the head of legal communications to work on a statement for approval to be sent to the Times. He claimed that they were not talking about blogs, and that it was not of concerns that inmates could use them to coordinate criminal activity, such as smuggling, drug smuggling, gang violence, witness intimidation. However, such calls can also be used for more innocent purposes, right? So, excuse me, guys, had a little stranglement in my voice, such as talking to loved ones at the same two at a time or multiple at one time. So, the corrections officers, the prison has told CBS News, for example, that they'll call their girlfriend and then the girlfriend will add the mother, for example. The source also added that inmates run the risk of getting caught, but know that corrections officers can't truly monitor the thousands of calls that are coming in at, one time, taking place at the federal prisons daily. So there are over 4,100 inmates at Fort Dix. So there's no way for them to sort of keep track of all of that. Now, prison officials have recommended that Combs lose 90 days of phone privileges because of this little stunt he pulled. And they're also recommending 90 days of commissary privileges being pulled as well. Their ruling was filed on November 4th. This was on Combs's 56th birthday, and it's unclear if the recommended penalty has been implemented or not. And this is what a source close to the investigation said. They said this is a serious offense that shows a disregard for the rules. Now, Combs's PR a team has said the following: it was a procedural call initiated by one of his attorneys and was protected under attorney-client privilege. There was nothing improper. And his lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, did not respond for comment. And, this is more of the same of what we heard when Sean Combs was in the men's federal holding in Brooklyn, where he said it was attorney-client privilege, that this was protected, and it turned out it was not a protected situation, and he ended up getting in a lot of trouble with the judge. So this is more of Combs just not being honest, really. And I'm inclined to believe the jail on this one. This isn't a situation where this is an inmate, talking to the news and saying, oh, well, he really, did X, Y. He didn't do da 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 da. No, this is the prison saying he did something wrong. We heard the call. We know that it wasn't attorney-client privileges, and now we're recommending this particular penalty. So let's talk about the drug treatment program, because earlier I said that this was not the RDAP program. So let's talk about the intensive drug treatment program that his publicist claims that he's in. Now, he has been assigned to the RDAP unit. Now, this, of course, is the intensive drug treatment program that he has been going on and on about, that he talked about during the sentencing phase of all of this. So he is in the unit. But what we're learning now is that the inmates need to qualify for the program, which we all know. And one source said that most inmates don't get placed in an RDAP program at the start of their sentence. So we know that. Now, of course, the sentence can be reduced up to 12 months. Mr. Combs, they say, this is a statement from his publicist. She says Mr. Combs is an active participant in the RDAP program and has taken his rehabilitation process seriously from the start. He is fully engaged in his work, focused on growth, and committed to positive change. Now, appreciate her statement. As a publicist, I get it. But as a publicist, I also know that she's lying. The reason why we know that she's lying is not because I'm a publicist and I can read some sort of tea leaves on this, but this is because of the fact that they've already said that he's not actually an active participant in the RDAP program as of yet. He's actually just in the unit. That is all. Now, Combs's attorney had written to the judge presiding over the case. You guys all remember this, Judge Submaranian, asking them to consider this, and of course, it's up to the Bureau of Prisons. So that's really what all there is right now. He has brought in his his publicist to sort of be his mouthpiece. That's her job. That's what she's supposed to do. But is there honesty in this particular situation? There's not a whole lot of honesty going on there just because of the fact that the publicist is kind of telling some untruths. He's not in the RDEP program yet. He's in the RDEP unit, but just not in the program. He is currently not, abiding by the rules like she claims he is. He's actually in a little bit of disciplinary action trouble. And these disciplinary actions, could, if they continue to mount up, could actually delay his chances of being in the RDAP program. And I would say, as an ultimate, could ultimately possibly keep him from getting in. So he needs to keep his nose clean. This is just more of an in-depth look of actually what is going on in that prison, other than what we talked about yesterday. Interestingly, there was no talk of booze in this particular situation. So I'm inclined to think that the booze situation might be something that's coming in, from inmates who, just kind of want to get their day in the sunlight or whatever. But what we talked about today as related to Sean Combs, this is coming from the prison. So he is actually in some trouble with that, and he's going to need to, get his act together as it relates to that if he plans to, in any way, shape, or form, get into that RDAP program. So he is not officially in the program, although his publicist is, sort of saying that he is. He's currently not in the program. He's online. And of course, we've heard from many different people that it would be unusual for him to get into that program as soon as he got into prison. He's not just yet. So that is really the the wrap up on the Sean Combs matter for now. We'll stay posted on any sort of late breaking as it relates to him. Okay, now this is rapper Rod Wave. Rod Wave was arrested on drug, weapons, and weapons charges in Atlanta yesterday. This is all of this just after getting his first Grammy nomination. Why do folks wait until they're on the brink of ultimate success to mess up in this way? Oh my goodness. Now he's a Florida rapper. He was arrested on drug and weapons charges in Metro Atlanta on the same day he received his first Grammy nomination. He's 27 years old. Of course, his government name is Rodarius Green. Was booked in Fulton County. This was happened on Friday on charges of possession of a firearm or a knife during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies, possession of a Schedule 2 and a Schedule 4 controlled substance, and reckless driving. Now, jail records showed this. So apparently he was getting ready to commit some sort of other offense with this particular weapon. He's also getting in trouble for the Schedule 2 and 4 controlled substance. Some of this is marijuana. We know that off the top. I don't know if it's any other substance involved with this. And then, of course, he's looking at a reckless driving charge. Now, authorities said they pulled him over there in Atlanta because he was speeding. He was speeding through a nearby stop sign, and during the stop, investigators say that they found a suspected marijuana and other substances. They're not saying what they are in the car, as well as a firearm on Wave's person. It was on him. He was released on bail after his arrest, and in a statement to CBS there in Atlanta. Rod Wave's attorney said the following: that he was unjustly profiled and unlawfully arrested in Atlanta, that they plan to, you know, fight this, and that he was a victim of the APD crime suppression unit's a quota-driven approach to arrest, meaning they arrest based on a quota that they need to fulfill. They said, we look forward to vigorously challenging this baseless arrest and the clear violation of Mr. Green's rights in court, they said. Now, this arrest comes hours after he was nominated for his first Grammy for his song Sinners, which, of course, appeared in the movie by the same name, featuring Michael B. Jordan. And this was a Ryan Coogler film for Warner Brothers. pictures. Now, the rapper is set up for best song written for visual media. This is not the first time though that Rod Wave has been in trouble. Those in Atlanta know this. He has been in trouble for some other things. He had a warrant issue for his arrest for dozens of charges, which included aggravated assault, criminal damage to property, and tampering with evidence. This, and then less than a month later, the same agency charged him with battery. So we will keep our eye on this particular incident with Rod Wave. We'll let you know how it goes out on, how it pans out. But folks just need to stop. You are your own worst enemy when you do things like this. Okay, guys, that's going to be it. That's going to be a wrap for Castle Court TV. We will see you soon later on. We hope everybody is having a safe one. We'll see you soon. And thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you have not. And don't forget to engage in the comments in the channel on the channel. Thanks so much, guys. Peace.